On this week's episode of JD's Reviews, we got two movies, Battleship and The Pirates. And for games, we got Madden NFL 13, Joe Danger the Movie, Psychonauts, Infamous Collection, and Guild Wars 2. Howdy y'all, this here's JD's Reviews. I'm JD, and I'm going to review games and movies for you. Now, a lot of people think it's a pain in the butt to review stuff because you got to watch these 2-hour movies and you got to play these games, and some of them take like 50 hours long. But I got to tell you right now, I'm a smart fella. All I got to do is look at the box and I can tell you all about a movie or game. And so that's what I'm doing, using my special skill based on the title and the picture of it, what this is all about, and I educate you. So get ready and hang on to your boots. So without any more messing around, let's get started with the movies. This week we got something big, something called Battleship. Now, Battleship was one of those movies that came out over the summer and supposed to be quite the big do. Now, I personally was a little disappointed in this movie. Battleship is a movie based on, there's this board game out there by them boys Hasbro. It's called Battleship. Surprising, huh? Anyway, this here is a documentary about the origins and creation of Battleship. And it's kind of fascinating to learn that Battleship was actually been around longer than the game of chess. I kid you not. Battleship used to be played in China before chess, but built out of wood, and they would play this game, and it was kind of fascinating to learn stuff like that. But overall it got kind of boring to go out through the history of the game, different things they make the pieces out of, you know, that kind of thing. Special effects for the movie Battleship I thought were terrible, just downright terrible. I heard they spent hundreds of millions of dollars on this movie, and I can't figure out where the money went. There are no special effects, there ain't no big actors in it. I mean, this was terrible. They should have done some special effects. Maybe some CG Battleship players. I don't know. Something, anything to make this more exciting. 4.5 hours long. Learn about the history of this. I mean, come on. Like, I really need to watch a legal battle for an hour and a half between Hasbro and Jim Bob over the game rights of Battleship. Come on, that ain't good viewing. That's just boring. So I gotta tell all y'all out there right now that this movie Battleship, stay away from it. Don't waste your time or money on it. Alrighty, now our next movie is called The Pirates. This here is a claymation movie about some Somalian pirates who go and take over the entire Pittsburgh Pirates baseball team and end up winning the World Series, which I thought was very nice to see an original tale coming out of Hollywood. But I gotta be honest, the combination of an adult theme like Somalian pirates taking over stuff with a kid claymation animated type style was a little bit of a strange mix. Kind of sends mixed messages when you're walking through the store and you see a box for the pirates thinking, hey, look at this nice here cartoon. I'm going to pick this up for my little ones. Then you bring that sucker home and you see pirates, real life pirates, taking over stuff and shooting at people. I mean, that's just not right for kids. But for an adult, I'm telling you, it's a good movie. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're walking by and you're going to see the claymation. It ain't kid stuff. I'm telling you right now. It's a good movie. Go check it out. Alright, y'all, let's move on to some video games now. Now, coming up, we got Joe Danger the Movie for the Xbox 360. Now, Joe Danger the Movie is actually a video game based on Evel Knievel's second cousin, Joe Danger. Now, I'm sure not many of you have heard of Joe Danger, being second cousin to Evel Knievel and all, but Joe Danger was kind of an excited felon, I guess. He would jump things with his bicycle like marshmallow pits, and that kind of stuff, which, don't make for too much of exciting television. So that's why you never seen him before. But they decided to make a video game off of him, which I thought was kind of odd since they don't really have an Evel Knievel game, and you'd think that would be more of a first choice. But I guess you got to get the license rights for Evel Knievel's name and all that. And I guess I can understand then why we got Joe Danger, because, there ain't no license rights for that name. Joe Danger's just happy to have his name on a box. I got to tell you that right now. Now, this game was, believe it or not that much fun. It's good for a good laugh for a few minutes when you're jumping over marshmallows and leaf bags and that kind of thing, but that gets old after about 5 minutes. So I'm telling you right now, just skip that game. Don't waste your time on it. It is a waste of your time. Now let's move on to the PlayStation 3. Now, first big release is a game called Psychonauts. Psychonauts is fantastic. It's about some crazy astronauts. Basic story of this game is the nut houses are all filling up with tons of people, and there aren't enough brave men in this country or world anymore to go up into that outer space. So what they decide to do is gather up all the nut jobs, put them in some rocket ships, and blast them into space to do some exploring. And you are playing the character of one of these crazy astronauts, or psychonauts, and your job is to explore space and try to keep control of your crazy crew. So it's kind of a nice little flight sim and some action adventure in a third-person perspective at the same time. Kind of a good time. You got some puzzles, you got your humor, pretty good graphics. So I got to tell you right now, pick up Psychonauts. It's pretty fun being a crazy person in space. You just can't go wrong with that. Now this week we also got one more big game for the PlayStation 3 called the Infamous Collection. Now this is kind of an interesting idea that I never would have guessed somebody would have come up with for releasing a game. What the Infamous Collection is all the worst video games ever made over time in one big collection. We're talking like E.T. for the Atari, Superman for the N64, Biggs Riggs Racing, Spice World with the Spice Girls. I mean, these are some terrible games all in one collection. But something about it kind of made me like it. It's kind of fun to go back and play all these games on it. And they got about 50 games on here that are just so terrible, so bad. You just have to wonder how in the world did these games ever get released. Now, I did have fun with this game, but I got to tell you right now, it's not worth a buy. Because after about an hour of laughing and giggling at the game, you're going to be done with it, and that's going to be that. And you're going to want to rebury this with all the ETs out in the desert for the Atari 2600. So, but if you see this for rent on your GameFly or whatnot, go ahead, rent it, pick it up. It's good for a laugh. You'll have a good time. Alright, now before you get your panties all in a bunch, I know there's still one more big game coming out, and this is both for the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3, called Madden NFL 13. Now, I thought this was a very, very odd game. Now, what you do is you play the part of Madden. Now, he was a football coach for the Raiders, and then he became an announcer on television. But what you're doing in this game is you're trying to go out there and find 13-year-olds to play football, because all the players are on strike, and they figure the best way to get ratings is a bunch of preteens playing football, something that'll get people to tune in and watch. And so it's kind of a dark game. You're going out there kidnapping 13-year-olds and forcing them to play football, and very strange little game. Got some amazing graphics, though. Controls are pretty tight, so I like that. It also has, in football, you got your instant replays, so whenever you make quite the daring kidnap or that kind of thing, you get a nice little instant replay that re-shows your daring move. But it still seemed pretty dark for my taste personally, so if that kind of dark game is into you, I say why not? Go for it. But for me personally, I ain't into kidnapping people, so Madden NFL 13 was definitely out. And I can't understand why everybody's making a big to-do about this game. Alright, now let's move on to the PC. Now, for those of you out there who aren't sure, PC, I'm not talking about political correctness. I'm talking about personal computers. So this here is a computer game. It's called Guild Wars 2, and it's what they call a MMORPG, or MMORPG. So I guess what that means is you're out there with bunches of other people playing a game at the same time. Now, that type of thing just ain't my cup of tea, especially something called Guild Wars, which you are as one of them's like the cloth guild, and so your job's try to get people to buy your clothes and that kind of thing, and then you could join, like the mining guild, but all you're doing is mining and digging for ores and minerals and that kind of thing. Or they've also got the cooking guild. Cooking guild, all you're doing is cooking. And I kind of be honest, I don't understand why you'd want to play this type of game with a bunch of people online. It just makes no sense to me. I mean, how can that possibly be fun? But what do I know? So if you're into those mocks, go for it. Check it out, I guess. But me personally, I'm going to stay away from it. So that about wraps up this first episode of JD's Reviews. I want to thank y'all for tuning in and hearing my phone ring in the background. Ain't that nice? Let me just turn that sucker right off. Anyway, for tuning in and hearing my reviews of games. Let me know what you think on our website right there. And tell me what you'd like me to review in the future if there's anything you're looking for. Y'all come back now.